Tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern over on Jaguar Gator 8, a new college football video drops. In this video, we'll talk about a bizarre scheduling conflict between the San Diego State Aztecs and the San Diego Padres. And now, on with our feature presentation. I'm going to give you a hypothetical scenario. You're playing your opponent in bowling. You're playing for a good amount of money. And no, you're not playing with bumpers because you're not 5 years old, so gutter balls are absolutely a thing. As things stand in the final frame, you're winning. But if your opponent gets a spare, then it's game over, and you lose. I tell you straight up that on your opponent's first shot of the frame, he's going to knock 8 pins down, and there's going to be 2 pins left standing. Now you've gone bowling with this guy many times before, because you're close friends. Option 1 is that the 2 pins left standing are near the center. Let's just say, to make things simple, that they're the 1 and the 2. I don't know how you knock down the other 8 pins and not knock down the 1 and the 2, but again, this is a hypothetical scenario, and I make the rules. And your opponent is pretty good. You know that if there's 2 pins near the center next to each other, whether it's the 4 and the 5, or the 8 and the 9, that he's always going to make that spare. Option 2 is that the 2 pins left standing are the 7 and the 10, meaning that he's got to pull off the hardest shot in bowling, the 7-10 split. In your life, in all the years you've gone bowling with him, you've never seen him ever hit a 7-10 split. So again, if I told you that he's going to knock down 8 pins no matter what, and if he gets a spare, you lose your money, which 2 pins do you want standing? The ones that are right next to each other, that he always knocks down, or the ones that are far apart from each other, that he's never knocked down in his life? Obviously, you choose the 7-10 split option. If you choose the first option with the 2 pins right next to each other, congratulations, you just lost a ton of money. You look really stupid. And on top of that, you might be Baltimore Ravens head coach John Harbaugh. Because in Sunday's game against the New England Patriots, at the end of the first half, Harbaugh did something absolutely baffling, where he just decided to give the Patriots free yards for no reason whatsoever, and it ended up costing his team at the time, giving the Pats points and momentum going into the halftime break. Because even though the Ravens wound up winning this game, and in the grand scheme of things, this didn't matter in the slightest bit for the final score, we need to talk about one of the most questionable coaching moves I've ever seen John Harbaugh make in his career. For those who aren't watching this in the immediate aftermath of the game, here's a brief recap of everything that's happened up until this point. It's September 25th, 2022. It's week 3 of the NFL season, and we have an AFC matchup on our hands over at Gillette Stadium between the Baltimore Ravens and the New England Patriots. Aside from the fact that these teams have a pretty good rivalry between each other, with the teams playing tons of notable games against each other over the past decade, this is an important game for both of these teams, with each team sitting at 1-1. For the Ravens, a win here ties them with the Browns for first place in the AFC North, while for the Patriots, with either the Bills or Dolphins guaranteed to be 3-0 after playing each other this week, losing this game to the Ravens would mean you drop to 2 games back of the lead already. So if you want to keep pace in the division, you really need to win this one. And early on, it's a pretty back and forth affair, as the lead has already changed hands a few times between the two sides. With 30 seconds left, the Ravens are holding on to a 14-10 lead, thanks to 2 touchdown passes by Lamar Jackson to his tight end, Mark Andrews. The Patriots are going to have some time to call a few plays and maybe get into field goal range right before the halftime break. So even though the touchdown by the Ravens hurts, the Patriots can still get some of it back before halftime. And sure enough, following a touchback on the kickoff, the Pats are able to move the ball from their own 25-yard line to the brink of field goal range. A pass by Mac Jones to Ramondre Stevenson picks up 11 yards and gets the drive off on the right foot. And 2 plays later, when Jones fires a pass over the middle of the field to Kendrick Bourne to pick up 22 yards, the Pats have the ball in Baltimore territory. You're not quite in field goal range yet, at least not with Nick Folk, because he doesn't have the strongest leg in the world, but you're awfully close. You only need a few more yards to get into Folk's range and give him a chance at a makeable field goal. With 8 seconds left, you could either try a Hail Mary and go for broke, or you've got time for 1 play to the sideline to get closer and set yourself up for a field goal. And obviously, the most logical play here is to go to the sideline. Get something quick, get out of bounds, and then have Folk try and cut it to a 1-point game. So with the Patriots looking like they're going to do that, because Bill Belichick is a smart man when it comes to in-game management, let's see what defense the Ravens have lined up to stop this play. Huh, that's odd. My file seems like it's corrupted. It seems like whatever copy I have, they just decided to crop out all of the defensive linemen. I mean, there's no way the Ravens just aren't rushing anyone, right? There's no way they're actually calling a play where Jones has all day to throw and find a target, right?
Timeouts, look for outbreaking routes here or a shot. Jones finds Bourne again. Kendrick Bourne gets out of bounds with 1 second.
Oh crap, it wasn't corrupted. They actually did that. And now the Patriots are in field goal range. Of course they are. This is going to look really stupid in about 5 seconds, isn't it?
Folk from 50. He's got another.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something that look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something that look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Baltimore Ravens head coach John Harbaugh. Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in the game, and if he gets another ring, he's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best coaches to ever be featured on this segment, to the point where it's kind of shocking. It's like when the normally quiet kid that causes no problems gets detention, and you look up in disbelief and think, wait, my eyes are deceiving me. That can't possibly be right. Harbaugh's won 139 games in his 15-year career, winning over 61% of the time, and has finished below 500 just twice in his career with the Ravens. Both times, the team was ravaged by injuries. He's been rock solid and consistent and has made a ton of good decisions in that time span. But this was not one of them. And even though the Ravens won the game 37-26, so this play had no impact on the outcome, it still resulted in points, and still left a ton of people, and rightfully so, scratching their heads. So with that being said, let's take a look at why intentionally rushing 0 and giving the Patriots all day to throw so they could pick up free yards and get the field goal is a really bad idea. Now, if there were 3 seconds or 4 seconds left, I'd have no problem with this, because at that point, your only option is to go to the end zone for a Hail Mary. So if you want to drop guys back into coverage for that, and just trust that your guys have the leverage and the numbers advantage, no problem. But with 8 seconds left, surely you know that's plenty of time to be able to call a play to the sideline. We've seen teams get off quick plays for short yards in way less time than that. Heck, last year, in about the only good bit of coaching that Urban Meyer ever did in Jacksonville, the Jags successfully did this with 5 seconds left, which required the receiver to get down and for the coach to call a timeout. In other words, on a play like this, 8 seconds is an eternity. I know Harbaugh's a bright guy, so I know the thought of the Pats calling a short pass play to get closer for a field goal was on his mind, and it's not like Harbaugh completely forgot that this was a possibility. And I get the idea of not wanting to give up that Hail Mary and go into the locker room trailing, especially since you don't get the ball to start off the second half. So in Harbaugh's mind, since he never talked about this in the post-game press conference for some reason, the thought process was simple. If the Pats want to go short, fine. Those yards don't matter, and we're fine conceding those. Except, as it turns out, they matter a lot. As in, they might matter against the Patriots more than any other team in the league. It's like saying that we're not going to guard the three-point line when we're playing the Golden State Warriors. Because Nick Folk is not just the most accurate kicker in the NFL from inside 50 yards, but he's one of the least accurate kickers if he's going from long range. In 2020, in the first half against the Miami Dolphins in Week 1, Folk missed a field goal from 45 yards out. Since that kick, Folk has not missed a single field goal from inside of 50 yards. What you're watching right now is a compilation of some field goals that he's made since that last miss more than 2 years ago. The last time Nick Folk missed a field goal from inside of 50 yards, it was September 13th, 2020. That was so long ago that the conference finals of the NBA playoffs held in the bubble at Disney hadn't even started yet. Since then, Folk has made 57 straight field goals from inside of 50, including one earlier in this game against the Ravens when he hit one from 35 yards out. That streak is the NFL record for the longest streak ever. In other words, if Folk gets to 50 yards or closer, you're not going to stop him and the Patriots from getting 3 points. It's practically automatic. But here's the catch. Folk, from outside of 50, in terms of his long-range ability, is not good at all. Folk has been in the NFL since 2007, so this is his 16th season in the league. Over his career, he's attempted 393 field goals. The longest made kick of his career was from 56 yards out, and that was when he was with the Jets all the way back in 2010 when he was 26 years old. Not 38 years old, with his leg being significantly less powerful. Since 2016, Folk has never made a kick from more than 53 yards. Folk is a very good one-trick pony. He's money from inside 50, but he doesn't have the leg to beat you whatsoever from outside of 50. And that's okay. So if you're the Ravens, and your goal is to not allow the Patriots to get points on this drive so that you could go into the halftime break up by 4, your goal should be to not let the Patriots get 7 or 8 yards, because the ball as things stand is on the 42-yard line. And we know that Folk can't hit a 59-yard field goal, nor would the Patriots allow him to even attempt that. So knowing this, why the heck would you allow the Patriots to call a play where they can easily do that? Why would you rush absolutely no one? By rushing no one, you're just allowing the Pats to pick up the requisite yardage needed to get into Folk's range. And you're not even putting up a fight. At least make them earn it. I'm not saying to send the blitz Greg Williams style. I'm not saying to send the hounds. Heck, you could have 3 guys on the line and then drop the rest back. That's fine with me. But to bring 0? If you bring 3, it might force Mac Jones to get rid of the ball before anyone can get open. You might be able to get a sack and keep the clock running right then and there, making that play the final one of the half. You might be able to force Mac out of the pocket, which makes the play go on for longer than it was originally designed for, and might even make this the final play of the half. Compare that to the alternative of literally bringing no one, so that Jones has all day to throw and can just wait for someone to get open short and near the sideline, and it's like night and day. With the first option, there's only a chance that you allow the Pats to get 3 points. With the second option, you're guaranteeing that the Pats get 3 points. Why you would ever choose the first option, I have no clue. If you're in Vegas and you're playing on a slot machine, and one machine at least gives you a chance at winning, and the other machine is clearly rigged and flat out says that you will not win no matter what, and you can only play one machine, you play the first one. But for whatever reason, Harbaugh decided to play the second one, and it backfired. Again, the Ravens won this game, so history is extremely likely to forget this play, and forget the time that the Ravens had 0 guys on the defensive line. But that still doesn't make the call any less confusing or puzzling. I've done episodes on this series on coaches making bad decisions in a win, and I'll continue to do so if the situation warrants it. And this situation, considering how bizarre it was, definitely warranted it. So what do we learn from all this? Defensive linemen exist for a reason, and it's probably a good idea if your opponent is calling any play, but especially a routine passing play to the sideline that's not really any different from any other play, to use them, just to force some pressure and make the quarterback work. Defensive backs can't cover wide receivers forever. Even the worst wide receiver in football will get open on Deion Sanders eventually if you give the quarterback an unlimited amount of time to throw the ball. So knowing this, and knowing that you're going to give up yards if you can't get to the quarterback, you should have someone on the line to try and prevent that from happening. And if you know that the kicker in question is money from a certain range, don't call a defense that allows the offense to get into that range with no effort whatsoever. Because plain and simple, you're going to allow points, and it's not going to feel good. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Get your official Jaguar Gear 9 merchandise by going to jg9shop.com, and be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. If you want to see videos like this condensed down to 60 seconds, then follow me on TikTok at JaguarGator9. To see college football videos, subscribe to JaguarGator8. To see highlight videos of players throughout the history of the NFL, subscribe to JG9 Highlights. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.